Welcome everyone. You are watching and perhaps listening to Hot Sauce Quarantine. I'm your host, Piz Del Rees, and I'm joined by equally suffering Mets fan and co-host, Terry Tam. How's it going, buddy?
I'm not bad, man. Not bad. You?
Good. Also appearing on the screen is Graffesium himself, Deez. Duke, how's it going, buddy?
My hands are dry. My dick is dry. Just living a dry life.
Yeah, so you don't need to sanitize your penis. It's why it's called hand sanitizer and not penis sanitizer.
Listen.
Missing in action is Eagle at Master Control. He is the reason these shows take a lot less time to produce. Because of his absence, it took us an hour to set up on Skype. Skype, I'm going to post a very negative review, even though it's not your fault.
Don't.
But it's a pandemic and I need to lash out somewhere, so I'm going to lash out there. How are you guys holding up?
We're good. I'm troubleshooting this whole fucking thing that we're trying to do without Eagle, and I see my camera's a bit delayed. Is my camera delayed on your side?
No, don't worry about that.
I'm very worried about this. You have no idea.
You're mouthing words at the end of your sentence to pretend as though you're delayed. One of the things I want to start with, and it's the topic that's on everyone's mind as we are in a world that sort of has sports existing on the periphery, but not in our everyday to-day lives as we're used to.
Dude, it took you so long. It took you so long to see pandemic.
Sorry?
It took you so long to say pandemic.
I didn't say pandemic.
It was like 8 words just to say we are in a pandemic.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to be artful and descriptive. So what appliances do you guys feel that you're using a lot that you didn't realize that on a day-to-day basis, oh my god, I need all these machines to get my life right?
My hands. I had a dishwasher before. I don't have a dishwasher anymore. And it's crazy how much dishes I go through. It is fucking nuts. I can't figure it out.
I have a similar situation, Terry, because right before all this, my washing machine and my dishwasher kind of broke down where it doesn't wash glasses or Tupperware well. It only washes like dishes okay. But like the thing I need you for is like the glasses and the Tupperware. Those are the terrible things to wash by hand. And so now I'm washing everything by hand because essentially it takes me 5 seconds to wash the 2 plates. Yeah. Everything else is a pain in the ass. And oh my god, the amount of dishes I use in a week is insane.
The amount of dishes.
I will say that just the fridge, dude. Like, I never realized. I mean, there's a lot of things I didn't realize, and I'll steal Pete's joke on this. I never realized how much I touch my face in public. But just going to the fridge on a daily basis, but just going to the fridge and opening it, and then looking at the things that you're not going to eat, and closing it, and then going in work, go back 5 minutes later. It's an ongoing thing. So yeah, I'd say
I've kind of been doing that a lot too, because I'm trying to. Right before all this, I got rid of all of the clothes that I wore when I was heavier. And so the best thing in the world would have been, it's pandemic, I'm just going to pig out. But instead, because I want to be able to fit into all the new clothes I spent a lot of money on, I decided, no, I'm going to stick with my diet. So like Duke, I just go to the fridge every 20 minutes or so to stare at it, lower my head, listen to the sad Charlie Brown song in my head, and then lie down and faceplant on the couch. Also, the couch. I'm using the couch a hell of a lot.
Oh, the couch is used more than anything I've ever used in my life.
That's not an appliance. You asked for appliances, and so far Terry said his hands, which is not an appliance, and you said couch. That's not an appliance.
Dishwasher. You both said dishwasher.
If we're talking about things that are being used a lot, I have to say, look, can I just say something? My dog is going insane. I think that he's fed up with us. There's something about us, both myself and my wife, being home all the time. He's just not used to it. He's going out way too much. He's going out longer than ever. It's almost like he's telling us, like, when the fuck are you going to go so I can go piss in the basement in peace?
Yeah.
And
he wants his fucking house. He wants his house.
What's going on, Terry?
Nothing. I can't find something.
Oh, it's not gonna happen.
Found that.
Yeah, like
I don't know if you're waiting for that.
I'm kind of living the life. I don't have kids. I don't have pets. It's the best time of your life to be quarantined. as being quarantined is, because it's not pleasant. But we're kind of living that experience the best we can. We have friends. My godson, the other day, while both parents are working, both kids are at home. They're working from home. They have both their kids. Both kids are under 5 years old, so it's a disaster. My godson took a giant shit on the floor. My friend, he starts freaking out. It's like, oh my god, I'm in a meeting. I can't handle this. My buddy walks in, his father, trying to figure out what's going on, steps in the shit just a minute before a Zoom meeting. So they're looking forward to this being over so that we can take care of our godson for a couple of weeks after this is done. I think I'm just going to take a vacation because I feel like it'll be cheap as hell as soon as it's all travel. It'll be cheap as all hell.
You don't think it's going to be cheap?
No, not even close. When Greece went through their recession a couple years ago, prices were, if not higher, than they're the same price. People are going to be trying to recoup all their money. They know that people are going to want to get away.
But I just what I do, I attribute that to Greece not understanding how an economy works.
See that there's 2 parts to my response. Is one, they don't understand how the economy works. Yeah. 2 is that they forgot that if you take 4-hour breaks in the middle of your workday to smoke cigarettes and drink coffee, that you're probably not going to be generating any taxes for the economy. They haven't figured that part out yet, but they're getting there. They're getting there.
How's your hair holding up, Terry?
My hair is as awesome as usual, my friend. Look at this. Look at this.
See, I'm insanely jealous of you because for my hair to look decently presentable, it takes about a pound of product. And if I lay down on a pillow or put a hat on, it completely takes the shape of, my head being pressed up against something. So I can't just do that. I'm freaking out. I didn't realize how much I rely on my lineups, on my beard being kept for me. I haven't done any of this stuff for myself in over 2 years. And my God, it's terrible.
How many messages have you sent?
My barber is going to get skyrocketed high after this because
yeah. 100%. No, I've already messaged my barber a few times and just said bro, I fucking miss you.
Yeah,
I legit.
You messaged your barber to tell him that you miss him?
Yeah, wow. I did, and I will message him again tonight.
How come you never messaged me that?
Because I don't ever miss you.
I did message Terry that actually.
You did Easter. The other day. We had a very bromance, a virtual jerk off session is what we did.
Yeah. I miss feeling the heat of your breath
live stream
on my neck on our tiny ass studio.
Live stream.
Having all this space is bizarre to me, Terry. How's it going in terms of? I see you guys both wearing your formal hoodies. Yes. Have you guys been actually putting on pants and getting dressed on
all the time,
day to day, or?
I will say this though.
I'm running every day. I am exercising all the time. Nope. I'm drinking way less beer than I ever drank. It's almost like I'm going to come out of this better than ever, and I'm still going to be fat as fuck.
I think I've eaten every single carb that's ever existed. Not only that, yesterday and the day before, I wore the same clothes 2 days in a row. I slept in them. I chilled on the couch in them all day. Same t-shirt, same shorts. Pee stains and all. Oof. And I'm getting judging eyes looking at me right now.
I'll message Eagle. You guys talk.
Fuck Eagle.
I've been forcing myself to put on a shirt and pants, an actual button-down shirt and actual nice pants, at least 3 times a week.
That's because you're a legit terrorist.
Oh, thank you.
Only terrorists do that.
You know that I've actually been called a terrorist in my lifetime by a foreign country.
By a foreign country?
Which foreign country called you a terrorist?
India. I was working for the International Air Transport Association. We issued a book. I worked in the department that dealt with training materials for travel agents, cabin crew, and all that. Anyone who works in an airport and that kind of stuff. We issued a book that had a dotted line between India and Kashmir. And they felt as though this book would incite terrorism. And I arrived to my desk at, usual work time for most normal people, 10 a.m., only to have everyone I worked with who had already been there for a couple hours because such is my life, everyone looking at me and laughing. And then I sat down to see two emails. One from my client in India who sent me the press release saying that my name was being tied into this thing where it said International Air Transport Association and Paulo Del Rocca, international terrorists, and then finally an email from my boss saying, "Come see me immediately."
Oh boy,
two of the most unpleasant days of my life.
You should totally change your Twitter bio. International terrorist.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
International terrorist. I don't think it's safe to do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Trudeau won't be happy. Little pussyfoot Trudeau won't be happy about it.
Yeah. So what is that? What, I don't care that he went to his chalet.
Yeah, no,
I don't care.
It's that much of a big
deal. He's doing the thing he's supposed to do.
No, but like he probably got on a private jet, right? Which is probably 10 people in there maximum.
That's not the point. When you are telling other people to stay home and to follow the law, and you are the prime minister and you're not following the law, then it shows the rest of Canada that you feel like you are above the law. And but it is therefore you're better than everyone else.
Very different for him to get on a not a chartered flight, a private jet, fly to wherever or a helicopter, fly to wherever the fuck he was going with his family, stay in the chalet where there's nobody else around him. He literally did the same thing as somebody going to visit their boyfriend or their girlfriend for the weekend and staying there for the weekend. It's literally the exact same thing. We can hate on Justin Trudeau all we want, but I don't see a really big problem with what he did.
I mean, like, you shouldn't be going to see your boyfriend or girlfriend for the weekend because that's breaking quarantine. You need to be with people 14 days at a time is how this actually should work. But a lot of these things become weirdly politicized. We live in a world right now, as we see the news that broke a few hours ago of WWE Hall of Fame announcer Howard Finkel passing away, where wrestling, because of Vince McMahon's association with President Donald Trump, has been declared an essential service in the state of Florida, a state where horse racing is also considered an essential service, which I guess you got to gamble on. So therefore, I can get behind that. But this is in parallel to a doctor, a man of science, who's being told that, in Dr. Fauci, that the things he is saying are not legitimate by politicians, and then being backed by another doctor. I'll get his name in a second, but I learned one interesting fact about this doctor while doing the research for this. This doctor in 1970, he was in high school. His name is Shiva Ayadurai. Dr. Shiva Ayadurai since went to MIT. He, as an adult, claimed that he invented email because in 1970 he wrote a high school paper about it. This is the person criticizing.
Did he send his paper in by email?
American expert on the coronavirus.
Did he send that paper in by email?
That would have been more impressive because you know what? If that's true, I created PlayStation 4 because when I had PlayStation 3, I said, hey, I want something that's PlayStationier. And we ended up getting the PlayStation 4. Duke, you created a cow crushing machine when you were 3.
Yeah.
So
I did.
Well, what do you mean a cow crushing machine? What is that?
Okay, I'll explain it to you.
I'll explain
it to you. It's a machine.
Yeah.
That you feed a cow.
The word machine in the description.
And it makes the meat. So you're asking about why WWE is an essential service in Florida, and I will tell you this.
About the cow crushing machine.
Yeah, I'll tell you, but in a second. But essential businesses in Canada or in Montreal are very different from essential services in Florida. In order to maintain sanity in Florida, when you're living in Florida, you need wrestling and you need horse betting. It's part of the game. It's part of being crazier than crazy, and it's part of living in Florida. You need crazy things to be essential, or else, buying tobacco, essential. Smoking meth, essential in Florida. Prostitution, totally essential in Florida. I don't know. Hunting alligator, also essential in Florida. Is that essential in Canada? No. So what do we know? Nothing.
We know.
Well, I do like the world that we're currently living in, where it's easier to get crystal meth than to get a kid into school because they're all closed. But what's interesting about this is that the WWE's main training facility is based in Orlando, Florida. But if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Stephanie McMahon part of the Trump administration when he was first elected.
No, yeah, I think it was Linda McMahon. She was part of it.
Oh, Linda McMahon. Sorry.
Okay, we all know we can trust Linda, not Steph.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
I mean, Steph, I'd give her a spin.
Yeah, I'd much rather be trusting Stephanie in all cases.
I mean, but Linda, you never know. You never know. She might be.
Another interesting report that's come out during this time came out last week, but we didn't have a chance to talk about it. Jeff Passan's report on Major League Baseball coming back soon. They wanted to create a sort of a domed city, a Pauly Shore biodome, if you will, where players would be shipped out for months to Arizona, where they would have no contact with anybody, away from their families. The young men in their prime who are millionaires being kept away from their families, saying, you know what, these people will not go out and associate with other people, with constantly, I would imagine, getting hit up on IG and Snapchat and everywhere else. No, they're going to stay in their hotel facilities by themselves, come out, play every few days. The bench players will be in the stand 6 feet across away from each other. My favorite part of the whole story is the umpires would be removed in favor of digitally tracking balls and strikes, which is the only way you can get baseball to modernize is in a pandemic.
It's true. That is true. I did not think of that.
As soon as they start losing $1, that's when they fucking start changing shit.
You know, I do have to say one thing though about this is that. So why can't NBA and MLB, why can't they pump in fake crowd noise? I mean, they've done that. They've been accused of that. I know the Atlanta Falcons were accused of that in the NFL. So what's stopping teams from using fake crowd noise for broadcasts? I feel like that's the only thing that would be missing from that. And I mean, on top of that, you tell me that there's no possible way to simulate having a crowd, like, you know, you having some pre-cut video of fans in the stadium and just taking that video from previous games and putting it in. I mean, I feel like as viewers, like, there's very few things that we need in a visual when we're watching a sport. We need the sound, we need the crowd, we need the sounds, but like there's got to be a way to film it at an angle so that you don't see the crowd when the game is live. But when you cut away, you can use older film. You know, film of.
I don't think that's so much the issue. So more than it just having people exposed to each other risks the increase of contamination, and these are very valuable assets. So, like, if you're a NBA player earning max money, it's I think 37 or 38 million. Let's say if you have the Supermax. So, like, someone who's making $37 million risking themselves and risking other people in a game where you're constantly sweating all over each other and touching each other, and potentially taking that virus and exposing it to other people for the benefit of sport, I think is somewhat irresponsible until we have either a vaccine or evidence that the infection rate has reached a point where we're not worried about getting second and third waves of infection growth.
I just want to let you guys know, for some reason, everything's good, but for some reason, Peace's camera shut off. We heard everything you were saying. You're back on now. We're good to go. I just want to let the people know, the viewers and the listeners know, that I am learning technology as we go. And I may or may not be drinking at the same time.
It's a tough time for all of us. It really is. Yeah. Terry, before we go into next thing, you have an interview coming up with Lauren from Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
You want to give us sort of 10 seconds on that before we move on?
So Naked and Afraid is this random show. I've always heard of it. I never really watched it. It's people that go to some buttfuck area. Okay, this time they're in South Africa in the jungle. Okay, but you can tell it's like a secluded area. Okay, and they're naked, and they're given like 2 or 3 tools to survive, and they're there for 21 days with 3 other people. And it's you watch it and it's interesting, you know, because you see the animals kind of walking close. You don't know how really close they are, but from the reactions you can tell. And I know Lauren, so I can tell she's kind of genuine in this. So I kind of believe that the lions and stuff are really close. They basically ate twice in 21 days. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. But I'm sure there's medical staff and things like that around them. But at night they're naked and it gets super cold. And so I watched the episode. It's pretty interesting, and we're gonna have her on. I'm probably gonna talk to her on Saturday morning.
Awesome. I think this would be something we can add to the podcast because it's going to be hard to get guests on the way we normally do. But if we can sort of have a series of interviews, I think that could be fun.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to bring up, Terry, and I know this hits close to your heart, and you have an article out on hotshotsports.ca about it. But Dak Prescott threw an alleged party.
I missed all of that.
He's now claiming it was 10 people and everyone was socially distant, which, I mean, it defeats the whole purpose of this.
Party.
One of the things that I find I'm having trouble with, where even early on, where we weren't really sure about how serious this had to be, we started talking about, having maybe a couple of friends over, like no more than 4 or 5 friends. And then we said, you know what, though? People are dying of this. Like, people are in their graves from this disease. It seems as though the least we can do is stay home and not be partying. Like, it just seems like it's a weird time to be partying in general.
I mean, it wasn't the best idea for Dak to do this, but what I can say is that I'm not defending him in any way. But people have...
You are so defending him.
No. First of all, read the article. I'm far from defending Dak and Zeke for doing this shit. They're idiots. They're beyond stupid.
I'm not.
It's the
You literally started by calling him an idiot.
I said Dak is an idiot. That's the name of the article. Thanks for reading it, Duke. Jesus.
I read it through. I got you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And it's the dumbest thing for them to do. But at the end of the day, some people are looking for some sort of normalcy, and they're fucking losing their mind. You know what I mean? And I get it. And we all live with people, right? So we know what it's like to have somebody there. But if you live alone, you must be going crazy. And you're a millionaire. You're telling me I can't have 5 people over or whatever it is. He's saying it was 10 people. Way too much, Dak. Way too much. Don't be an idiot. Sacrifice the time. Don't be a fucking doofus, because if you get Zeke Elliott sick, guess what? The NFL is going to cancel their season, or they're going to postpone it. They're already talking about shortening the season because of this. So don't fuck it up. There's millions of fantasy owners out there that don't want you to fuck it up. Don't fuck it up like you fucked up my Dallas Cowboys season this year.
Well, you're giving Zeke way too much value, by the way. No one cares about Zeke. And the NFL is going to go on whether Zeke gets it or not.
If nobody cared about Zeke, he'd be suspended indefinitely. The guy's been given 6 fucking second chances. Zeke is a star in the NFL.
And we all almost forgot that he wore a crop top to the draft.
Which is fine.
So, I mean, not really.
No one forgot. No one forgot. That's the only thing we'll ever remember of Zeke.
Yeah, but so when he says 10 people, how many do you think were actually there?
30.
Yes.
Remember American Pie when they both come back from college, and the girl is like, "What? He told me he slept with 3 girls. With guys, you divide by 3, and girls, they always say 1, which means you multiply by 3, right?
Yeah.
So I think with Dak, when you're lying about something, you have to multiply by 3. So he said 10. There's 30 people there.
Yeah, it's like it's the initial report was 30. I don't know why a reporter would lie about the number when 10 is just as bad.
I don't know also how you're lying when there's a video of 30 people in your house.
Yeah. Honestly, this past weekend for Terry, it wasn't your Easter, but
no, my Easter is this weekend.
Yeah, it was not a Greek Easter. It was Easter for us. I know. We did like a family teleconference, but the next day, I was just telling Duke before we got all the technology ready, I felt awful. I had one of the worst days in my life as an adult human. I just broke down. I was not okay. Like, it just felt weird to not be around my family, and I can sympathize. But you know what? I did the grown-up fucking thing and didn't go see my family. That could have done the same thing, is what I'm saying.
You could have.
It just shut up. Like in previous generations, people had died in war. All you have to do is stay home, play video games. Shut the fuck up.
Exactly. I mean, if I'm gonna stay home and play my 13th season of NHL, you can stay home and not do anything.
I don't know what to do. I got MLB The Show. I already moved the Marlins to Montreal.
Oh, nice.
Got to see the Expos uniforms, and I don't know what to do with my time.
That's so
the Dolphins are looking.
Fuck you, Duke.
It's
not the
saddest
saddest thing
quarantine
ever.
story I've ever heard.
Duke, first of all, you're not on
It's
camera.
so sad. Well, that's your fault.
No, that's your fault. You keep on moving away from camera.
No, I'm on camera. Look.
No, you are, but your half body is on camera.
Look.
Because he's not wearing pants, Terry. He's clearly not wearing pants.
I am not wearing pants. If you're expecting me to wear pants, you're fucking mistaken.
So the NFL draft is next week. The Dolphins apparently are now more interested in Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa.
Of course.
What's interesting is before the season, Tua was the consensus number one pick. He was for most of the college football season. Then he got hurt. And from all reports, he appears to be 100% fine. However, this is, of course, an offseason where teams can't examine players, can't meet with them in person. Do you guys actually think there's much truth in this story, in that they just see Herbert as the safer option? And do you think Tua will drop?
I think Tua's going to drop really deep in the draft. I really do. I think the scouting report. The fact is that the media is, when it comes to drafting, is normally right, and when it comes to players like this that have a lot of hype around them, and then if the media starts saying, like Mel Kiper, he started saying that Tua's kind of dropping, he's going to drop. I think he'll go in the 20s in the first round.
I actually disagree with you, Terry, because the media is never right when it comes to draft.
No, they're right.
On average, guys like Todd McShay and Mel Kiper get about 5 to 6 picks right a year in the first round.
I'm not talking about the amount of picks they're saying. I'm saying when there's a hot take like that, normally it comes from somewhere.
Yeah, but the team's also lying at this time of year, right?
Why would they lie?
Like, everyone's lying to Mel Kiper. Everyone's lying just to try and get advantages.
Why does this never happen in hockey?
No one is going to take a fucking lineman before Tua. There's no way. The Lions are looking for an upgraded quarterback, and it's been rumored for ages that they're trying to trade Stafford.
There's going to be 4 quarterbacks gone in the first round.
The Oakland Raiders have 2 super mediocre.
We're not talking about Oakland Raiders right now. We're not talking about the Raiders right now. We're not even close to talking about the Raiders. They're so off our radar.
Speak of the Raiders conversation.
Yeah.
I miss football. I miss everything. I mean, but he's going to be taken top 10. That's my.
There's
bet.
going to be 4 quarterbacks taken in this first round, right? So we assume Joe Burrow.
5.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, Tua, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love.
Okay, but hear me out. Okay, hear me out about this. Okay, so why would a team take a guy like Love or Herbert? Quarterbacks that you think that would take a year anyway to develop over a quarterback that has proven that he can work in a pro system, that has all the tools and has an injury. Like, either way, you're going to have to wait a year. So why wouldn't you take a gamble on a guy that has a proven talent?
Okay, but these teams aren't Super Bowl ready anyway. Twist your nipples all you want, Duke. They're not Super Bowl ready, and none of them are. The teams that don't have a quarterback are not one quarterback away from a Super Bowl, is what I'm trying to tell you. And they're not a Justin Herbert or a
They don't think so.
They
do not agree with you. They don't agree with you.
We've seen teams with new quarterbacks, with franchise quarterbacks, turn around in short periods of time, not in 1 year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not 1 year.
The thing is, there's no position that's as impactful as a quarterback, because look at it. The last something like 20 Super Bowl winners all have the same 4 last names. It's either Manning, Roethlisberger, Brady, and like there's not that many. There's one Russell Wilson in there. Mahomes, there's one Pat Mahomes in there, and Pat Mahomes is the next generation of that, right? So I mean, you need to get it right. I think you need to take chances. If you just go for blue chip stocks, then why do you pay these general managers all this money if they're not paid to have vision when it comes to dealing with a guy with an injury?
So the way I see it is that you're gonna bank yourself on a guy who's done a lot better in college, like Tua, over a guy like Justin Herbert, who played at, let's say, Oregon's a smaller school, even though it's a big school. It's like a second tier kind of thing in the size, but it has a big market and he runs a pro style. And Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. I think that if you draft Tua, you will get 2 things. You'll get flashy play, Tua things, flashy play, and injuries. And that doesn't win you Super Bowls. He's not even close to Russell Wilson is. He's being compared to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was a 3rd round pick. He was a 3rd round pick. He wasn't supposed to be the starter that year. Matt Flynn was signed. He came in and took over that job. Tua has never had to work to take over a job. He almost lost.
He did. That's not true. He took over in a national championship game. He took over in a national championship game
for what's his name?
Jalen Hurts is going to be a
Jalen
first round
Hurts.
pick. I've been saying it. I've been saying it since way before.
Yeah,
You
I
can do
agree.
it.
A year ago. I've been saying
You
he's
need
going to be a
focus on the
top
conversations we're actually having.
first round fucking pick.
So Tua,
And
great
then-
player. I just don't think that he's gonna pan out. I don't see it.
Well, what's interesting is, first of all, nobody knows because we're all making this shit up as we go,
exactly.
including
I'm not
including
making shit
the so-called
Hey,
experts.
listen, I played
You don't
football
know
in
that.
Michigan,
I'm not-
okay,
you're
so I
past
know what I'm
football.
talking about.
No, nobody does. Second thing, the second thing is, you know why he's being compared to Russell Wilson?
Because of his size and because he's black.
Well, no, but the second part's right because media pundits are basically lazy, and the two of them are black.
But they also have the same style, and they also have
But
the same
no,
style.
because Tua's not a running quarterback at all. He isn't the athlete that Russell Wilson is. He's got a
Neither is
big
Russell
arm.
Wilson. Russell Wilson has a big arm, and he does it on the run, and so is Tua. Tua does it on the run. He doesn't run, but he does throw on the run.
But he Tua has a lot of scripted rollout and moving the pocket plays,
Yeah.
where Russell Wilson does a lot of non-scripted moving in the backfield. That's not the same thing at all.
Sure. But the only thing with Tua is that I feel like he's been where Russell Wilson had to work to get where he is. Tua has played behind an offensive line that every single one of them, two of them are going to be drafted in the first round this year.
I mean, but so did Russell Wilson. He played for Wisconsin when Wisconsin had that ridiculous offensive
Who do they
line
have? Yeah.
where
I
they
think they
averaged
have
like
Travis-
3.
No, but I don't understand. I never understood this argument that people have about quarterbacks where they say, well, like coming out of college, they'll say, well, he had a great line. Well, he's going to fucking NFL. Generally, a lot of NFL teams have great lines. Now, if
Yeah,
he
but
goes
the
to line,
talent
he's
is
fucked.
the talent is
Goes to
even in
he
the
goes to
NFL.
lines, he's fucked.
Yeah.
But that being said, a lot of teams in the NFL have very good, smart, capable linemen, and I don't think that should be used against the player in a draft. That's what I'm saying.
It's not going to be used against him, but if he can't stick in the pocket and throw in college, Alabama against some buttfuck team, then how do you think he's going to do in the Dolphins playing against the fucking Bills, who had one of the best defenses last year?
But you're acting like he had a bad game. The guy had amazing performances all over.
He's a great college quarterback. Great
But he throws
college
stuff in
quarterback.
the pocket too.
You're
Terry.
saying that because you don't like Hawaii. You don't like Samoans.
First
So
of
you
all,
don't like Hawaii.
First of all,
You've
there's
never
nobody.
been to Hawaii, Five-0.
I'm gonna pull a
You've
Donald
never
Trump.
been to Hawaii.
I've been to Hawaii.
You don't even know where a Samoan is.
I mean, I know there's a country named Samoa.
You never had you never took part in a sexual position known as the Samoan popsicle.
Yes, I did.
No.
Yeah.
What is that?
I'll show you right now.
Pause. Explain it. I need to know. I don't know this. Okay, no, Terry, don't show us anything, please. No, let's see that. Explain this position, please. I'm sorry. This is the only social
It's actually a very
interaction
personal
I get.
question, Duke, and I'm offended you asked me. So the only thing was, I'm not against Tua. I'm just saying is that he's not the best quarterback in this draft. If I were the Dolphins, which I am not, clearly I'm not a Dolphin, I would go either Herbert or Joe Burrows.
Why?
Going first overall.
I mean, we don't know that. Chase Young just made a
But why-
huge
why is-
declaration that he wants to sack
why
Lamar
is Joe
Jackson more than
Burrow-
anybody in the league, which means he wants to be first overall pick. And if I were the Bengals, I would probably draft Chase Young.
Those things
Why
don't
is Joe
mean
Burrow
anything.
a
They mean a lot.
top one quarter? I don't understand. I do not understand why Joe Burrow is a top quarterback compared to Tua. Tua has consistently proven that he's a better quarterback than Joe Burrow.
Okay, what
And
has he
I think
done
such a-
more? What success has he had more than Joe Burrow has?
I'm not
But
looking
success doesn't matter because that's a team
No,
accomplishment.
the Heisman. How many
Tua
Heismans has
won
Tua
national
had?
championship just as Joe Burrow did.
How many Heismans has Tua had?
I like it. I like what Terry's doing now because he's using my arguments against me whenever I compare quarterbacks.
Exactly.
So I'm going to respect it and I'll say, you're right. Joe Burrow's better. I'll shut the fuck up.
But he's.
I
I
usually
mean,
use
look.
the same
I
argument.
think it's parsing hairs. I don't think there's a remarkable difference between any of the top three guys. This is the year you draft your quarterback. In fact, I'd say there are 6 NFL quarterbacks. I mean, that they'll have a career, not stars, but there are 6 guys in this draft who are going to have long NFL careers at the quarterback position. But Terry, to your point, if
Is Jake Fromm one of them?
Chase Young and still have Andy Dalton as a quarterback, that means with Chase Young they still don't make the playoffs. So what's the point?
Yeah, but how many years does Andy Dalton have left on his contract?
I mean, okay, regardless, you're still going to have to draft a quarterback at some
But
point.
when you're looking at value, who's coming out next year out of the draft as quarterbacks? I don't know.
Lawrence.
No one fucking knows right now because
Trevor Lawrence.
if they do,
you're telling me if Cincinnati Bengals wouldn't rather have
quarterback.
Chase Young and Trevor Lawrence as opposed to just Joe Burrows? Fuck me. I'm not. I'm just saying. It's like I'm not saying. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted Chase Young first overall. Is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But they have, but Terry, there's a Chase Young in every draft. There's a speedy edge rusher in every draft. There's not guys who we consider to be blue chip quarterback prospects. Like for example, a guy like Andrew Luck, who we knew from his days in college, this guy's going to get to the NFL and be a stud, and he was.
I just don't understand. I don't understand teams that feel the need to draft a guy like Chase Young. I understand Chase Young is incredible. He's going to be a generational player. He's going to be probably the best defensive player moving forward in the NFL. But I have never been able to correlate a great defensive player to a championship team like being drafted that young. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing out on anything. But like Aaron Donald is amazing, but the Rams haven't won anything.
Good teams that draft, let's say an edge rusher or a big-time defensive tackle, yes, that absolutely helps. But if you don't have the quarterback position solved, it doesn't matter if you have a talented edge rusher, talented cornerback, talented safeties. It's the single position that has the greatest impact on success in the NFL.
The only thing is that I agree with that piece. I'll never deny that a quarterback has the best, and that's why I was a proponent for Daniel Jones last year. And I didn't hate on the draft pick for Daniel Jones last year because you needed a quarterback and they felt that he was good enough to draft, so they drafted him. But at the end of the day, is that you also have to draft the best player available. And to me, the best player available on number one is Chase Young. That's my opinion. You know what I mean? And the best quarterback is not Tua or Joe Burrows. To me, what I've seen, I've only seen a handful of games. And I've seen Justin Herbert. I think he is the best quarterback in the draft. That's my personal opinion. I have nothing to stand on it. No legs to stand on it when it comes to that. But I think he's the best quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, well, we'll see moving forward. It's next Thursday. In the meantime, there's still plenty of NFL fake news. Right now, the fake news of the week is the OBJ trade rumors. Odell Beckham Jr. Looking
This is incredible.
possible destinations in the Rams, 49ers, and Vikings. I don't understand the Rams one because they have no cap space, so I don't know how they would make it work because this is what got them into this situation in the first place.
They just traded for Cooks away, so they might have freed up some space there.
I don't think that, but they traded Cooks because they didn't have the money to pay him.
Okay, there you go. I don't know. I have no idea.
I'll look it up.
Terry, they had $731 of cap space.
Fuck, that's a lot. They could have paid me. I would have played some defensive line.
I know. I would have taken it too. You want me to get murdered for $700? No problem.
Deal. Imagine.
But so this to me speaks a lot of the value of star receivers, and we
guys,
tend
my
to speak out about big
I'm
names.
trying to get this answer.
We thought your internet was good.
What's happening?
He said his internet's slow. He's trying to get the answer for us. How much cap space is
Incredible.
left?
I know. He lied about his internet.
And then he just said my internet's slow after he told us
wide
that his
receiver Brandon
internet's the
Cooks
best.
has $8 million salary due. Yes, Brandon Cooks has $8 million salary due in 2020. He is also due a roster bonus of $4 million this year. Additionally, Cooks earned $7 million signing bonus and $17 million option bonus when he has signed his new contract. So he really looks like he's about owed $8 million.
So I was thinking about this as we were talking about in our chat about Odell Beckham Jr. and the value of star receivers. At one point, I was talking to when I was in Las Vegas, and I was talking to a guy who dealt with handicapping and bets and so on and so forth. And he was referring to a time back when Terrell Owens was with the Eagles, and he said, when a star receiver gets injured, it affects the line from 0.5 to 0.1 points. When a left tackle gets injured, you're looking at 4.5 to 5 points.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So he was saying, on the grand scheme of things, while receivers are important to keep your quarterbacks happy, and you need guys who get separation and so on and so forth. Obviously, it's better to have good receivers than bad ones. They don't actually make a difference in terms of wins and losses. And think of it. Think of the teams we just saw in the Super Bowl, where Emmanuel Sanders is the best receiver for the 49ers, and Julian Edelman, a guy who looks like he fits more on this podcast than in the NFL, is a star receiver for the New England Patriots. So I think there is some truth to that, in that we overreact because we think of it in terms of fantasy, and our brains are just geared to look at this exciting positions, and a lot of times we don't even know what we're watching when it comes to offensive line play. But I don't think NFL teams and GMs value them the same way that we do.
I don't think.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Actually, no. Terry, go ahead.
I think that the value of protecting your biggest asset, which is your quarterback, is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much all it comes down to.
I'll disagree, but sure, go ahead.
That's it. That's my point.
So when it came to last year, right? So the Patriots decided to sign Mohamed Sanu, and they had the opportunity to sign Emmanuel Sanders.
They traded.
I honestly believe, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
No, but it changed.
I don't give a fuck. If they had acquired, let's use the word acquired because I'm much more broad. If they had acquired Emmanuel Sanders, what's your feedback? I don't know.
Let's move on from this conversation, and if Duke, there's Duke. Duke, what was your point about receivers?
Guess what I was trying to say? What I was trying to say was that the Patriots had a decision between Mohamed Sanu and Emmanuel Sanders, and had they decided to pursue Sanders, which the price was too high, they would have probably been a lot more effective in the motherfucking Super Bowl. I'm so fucking tired of the quarantine. I'm done with this bullshit.
Yeah, so Duke's frozen.
Just
sure.
We'll end the show now.
I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna say Duke's right. The Nevada Gaming Control has licensed the gambling of on the Overwatch League, the League of Legends European Championship, and the North American League of Legends Championship. This is a huge shift. Gambling on esports has already been legalized in sort of offshore gambling sites and so on. It's big in Asia, it's big in some parts of Europe, and now it's becoming sort of the mainstream as it grows in popularity, first of all, in North America in general, but definitely in the time of a pandemic where there's not a lot of stuff to bet on. Terry, I don't know if you've seen this. People are betting on what the president will say, how long the president will speak, when sports will come back. There are so many different things people are able to gamble on because casinos and gambling sites just want to make it appear as though they have a full board, because if they don't do it, the next site will do it. And so they're putting all these crazy prop bets out there. And now we're at least seeing sort of some level of competition coming back into gambling.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So just making sure.
Can you hear me?
So
I was buying a lot of time for you guys to get your technology working.
So right now, all we see is UPs. Okay, so me and Duke's camera is off completely. I don't know why. We're just gonna finish the show on this last note. I think that gamblers will always find any reason to fucking gamble, and the casinos or whoever's gonna find, they're always gonna find the slickest way to gamble. The slickest way. There's even a bet I saw: when is the coronavirus gonna end? So whatever it is, they're gonna find a way to gamble on.
Yeah, for sure. One last thing before we call it a show, guys. Just because we've experienced our share of technical difficulties, the NFL draft is going to be televised as usual, as always, except that GMs and coaches will be in their homes and in state of quarantine. And I love this idea because NFL coaches are so uniquely minded. They only look at things related to football. An example of this is Nick Saban famously said that in these quarantine times, he's finally learned email. I found that interesting because it's not something that's hard to learn. You could have learned at any point. But then aside from that, a tweet came out with a picture of Dave Gettleman's war room and another NFL GM's war room. I don't know if you saw this, Terry. the other NFL GM had like 5 or 6 computers on his desk. Gettleman had one single archaic computer with a giant binder on his desk. I don't know if he knows that the computer stores files, so you don't need to have that like paper. Like, how can you even? You have 40 seconds on the clock, or 3 minutes on the clock, or 5 minutes on the clock, whatever amount of time it is. How can you find any of your information in a giant binder?
It just doesn't make sense that this guy, this fucking guy, can't figure out how to use the internet.
Yeah, and it's funny because this is one of the most successful people in his industry, right? Like he's the GM of the New York Giants. That's a very prestigious job, and motherfucker can't use a computer.
Does he have one of those old Macs, like those old MacBook ones that you saw on Zoolander?
No. It's like it looks like an ordinary computer, but from about like a couple of years ago. But it like. For me, the first tweet in response made me realize, oh my god, I don't miss sports fans at all. His answer was, oh, what? Because more screens make you a better GM? Like, no, dude, you're missing the point. It's funny because he's old and he can't figure out basic shit. This guy who has a great job can't figure out basic stuff. That's the joke. My god, people don't understand the simplest thing sometimes.
It is laughable that I am the David Gettleman of podcasting.
What?
Do the ending again.
Alright, so I apparently have to do the ending again because much like Dave Gettleman, Terry can't use the internet. I have been Pease, you've been Terry, Duke's been terrible at internet as well, and you've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.